Hi there, RC Girl here. Today we have the Redcat Racing Gen8 V2 from BitGo Hobby. This is the upgraded Gen 8 platform, so they came out with two new body colors with clear windows, also beefed up some of their components, so they have heavier duty portal axles and portal gears. Also some updates to the chassis. In this video, we're gonna go over all the features. I'll show you guys what comes in the box. I'm also gonna share my early upgrades and mods, and then we're gonna take it out on the trail and trail test it. So stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, welcome. Here you're gonna find RC reviews, tips and tricks, run videos, flight videos, and other things related to RC. So if you guys wanna see more, make sure you like and subscribe. Also, head over to my Instagram, Facebook, and Patreon. I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff there, so don't sure to miss it. First off, thank you to BitGo Hobby. They are an online distributor and warehouse based out of Indiana. They sent this to me to try out on my channel. They are known for their model aircraft, but are getting into the crawler game. So I will put a link to this rig in the description box below. Make sure to check them out. Right now, they have free shipping on all orders. With this rig, I'm really impressed with the value you get for the money. So coming in at $299, this is gonna be a competitor to higher end rigs like your SCX 10.3 and your TRX4, but for a fraction of the cost. So you're still gonna get portal axles. It comes with everything you need in the box to get you out on the trail. All you have to pick up is a battery and a charger. This rig is gonna be in the same size class as something like your Traxxas TRX4 or your SCX 10.3. It is a 12.8 inch wheelbase, so this is a big rig. This is not a small crawler. With this crawler, you're gonna get portal axles, so that's gonna raise your axle off the ground to provide some more clearance when you're trying to get over features. Also has really nice metal links, scale body details. I really like the inner fenders. Some companies don't offer that. I really like them a lot. It keeps dirt from kicking up in there, and also you can't see through your body wells. I really like that it has an easily adjustable wheelbase. Right out of the box, you don't have to buy extra links or anything. All you have to do is mount the links in a different position, and you can modify the wheelbase from 12.3 inches all the way up to 13.3 inches. So this makes this a really good platform for custom builds. I actually have a Proline van build that I've been trying to find a chassis for, and I quickly put that on here. It looks really great. Folks have mentioned to me that there have been some issues with breakage of components on the Gen 1, so I'm hoping that the Gen 2 with the beefier components have addressed some of that. Really great that Redcat is listening to drivers out there and making changes to their product for the better. Really great to see that. Redcat Racing provides a lot of free shape files for download on their website. So if you have a 3D printer, you can really customize your rig. You can download and print a roof rack. They have custom grills, lots of neat body details. So I will put a link to that in the description box below. Make sure to check those out. And I know. I definitely need to get a 3D printer. I've been eyeing them for years. I just need to bite the bullet and get it done, but soon enough. So first off, this comes in two body colors. These are very bright. Comes in this purple color and this green one. And I have the green one. I thought it'd be kind of cool. I'm thinking of doing like sort of a forest look and some side panels. We'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, two RTR options, and they come with clear windows. Here is everything that comes in the box. Obviously, you have your rig, and we're going to talk about this in a lot more detail. You got your transmitter here. This looks like pretty standard RTR transmitter with a couple different settings that we can modify, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then you have your instructions pack here with some spare parts. Looks like it actually comes with a couple body post mounts if you want to run different body styles. And then we have their decal pack. This is the International Scout 2 body. This green too is pretty neon green, so we're gonna have to break it up with some decals. I think it'll photograph well. I think it'll look really cool out on the trail, but we just need to break up the green a tad. It's a little too lime green for my taste, but we'll make it look really cool. Plastic sliders here, so it holds the body in place. Again, as I mentioned, that there's inner fenders. Here you can see our suspension. The suspension feels nice and soft. I'm kind of impressed so far. It's kind of cool. Got quite a lot of flex here. I noticed immediately that there's a lot of different mounting positions for your shocks. They are aluminum bodied shocks. They look kind of nice, actually. I'm impressed. Here you can see the portal axles. They've been beefed up. Also a metal diff cover. That's kind of cool. Usually rigs like this come with a plastic diff cover and you have to upgrade that, but it's metal right out of the box. I took off the diff cover and it looks like there's a good amount of grease in there from the factory. You might want to add a tad more. There's a little bit of gear noise. You might be able to reduce that a little bit by greasing this a little bit more. Check the portals as well. Those have a good amount of grease. Maybe a tad more would be helpful. The body doesn't have any body clips, so that's cool, but it is held on by some Velcro here. So it's actually, the first time I took this off, it's really hard to get off. It's kind of stuck. I had to pry it off with a flathead screwdriver. So I think interesting design, but execution maybe not the best. Yeah, see, it's sort of peeling up. Just take the body off. So you can see it's hook and loop Velcro here. Not the best design. I'm going to replace this. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. I'll show you guys how I'm going to replace these with magnets. So really strong rare earth neodymium magnets. I think that'll be a nice addition to this rig. One thing that they did improve on this, there used to be like these bumps underneath this skid plate here. And folks would mention that that would get cut up on stuff. So that's one of the mods that they did, is they flattened out this skid plate. Our motor ESC combo is a brushed setup. So for our ESC, this is a Hexfly brushed 40 amp ESC, and there's some basic adjustments here. So you can use this little pin to switch between LiPo and NIMH batteries. It also has a 6-volt internal BEC. There's also 3 positions for your drag brake, so you can have it set to 0, 50, or 100%. On and off switches here. Comes with DIN connectors. I run XT60s on all my stuff, batteries, ESCs, so we're just gonna have to easily solder these off. But if you're not comfortable soldering and you run different connectors, you can just get an adapter. For our motor, this is a 550 size, so a little bit bigger. Brushed motor, 17 turn motor. The motor is also mounted forward, so that's going to keep some of your weight towards the front of your rig, which is going to prevent it from kicking back. It's going to feel nice and planted, hopefully on the trails. Our battery tray here is center. Nice Redcat little Velcro straps there. Looks like they also have the ability to run a smaller LiPo if you want. Our servo is a 25 kilogram Hexfly digital servo. This looks very similar to some of the different branded servos that I find on Amazon. I actually run these in quite a few of my rigs. They are cheap, good value though, and the quality has been there, at least for me. I've really enjoyed them. So hopefully we have a good experience with this one, and we'll definitely try it out. For the receiver box, you can access the plug-in ports from the exterior, so you don't have to get into your receiver box to unplug anything. I'm wondering how waterproof that is. Not too sure. We can always apply some silicone grease to waterproof that. Interesting concept though. It is running licensed Interco Super Swampers. These are true beadlocks, so it comes with a separate beadlock ring. I think this part feels like it's metal. And then we have the plastic chrome. I might actually paint these black and sort of black it out, but we'll see. They are vented though. So if you want those sealed, we'll have to figure out how we can seal those if you're running through water. The stock foams are pretty nice and soft. Someone mentioned that the original Gen 1 versions would freeze solid during the winters, would be rock solid. I think these have been improved in this version though. Don't take my word for it. If someone knows for sure, put a comment below and I will update that in the description. For our transmitter that comes as part of the RTR, it does feel really nice in the hand. I like the rubber grip for the steering wheel. You can tune a couple things, so your steering trim and your throttle trim, also your steering dual rate. I actually had to turn down the steering trim because when I was doing full turns, you could see that the links were hitting the front diff box, which can wear out your servo long term, so dial that back a tad. I did hear it's a little bit touchy, so there is quite a bit of speed when you're throttling up. It might need a little bit of expo so we can dial down the sensitivity around neutral. Eventually, I'm going to install the SR515 Spectrum receiver so I can use this with my Spectrum DX5 Rugged. Next, let's talk about the early mods and upgrades that I did. Some of these are super easy and cheap. So the first one is blacking out our rims. So I wanted these to look a little bit more mean. I'm not a huge fan of chrome. So what I did is I scuffed them up with a Brillo pad so the paint would adhere. Then I applied a surface primer from Tamiya. I also had TS29 black and also flat clear TS80. A couple coats of each of these, let it dry. I think these turned out really, really cool. I like the look. I'll put links to everything I used in the description box below. You can also use Rust-Oleum 2X paint and primer in one to achieve the same look, available at your local hardware store. One important thing to mention is that these hex adapters, typically they're held on by a set screw. These don't have a set screw, so what is holding them on is your wheel and your wheel nut. So if you take your wheel off on the trail, this pin can just slide out and then you're screwed. So make sure to keep an eye on that. Another quick and easy mod I did was tinting the rear windows using tint film. So what you're gonna need for this is soapy water, a hobby knife, and something you can use as a squeegee. Spray the soapy water, then cut out your tint film, apply that with the squeegee, and ta-da! I think it looks super cool. You can still see through it, but it adds a nice custom look. For my next mod, I cut out custom vinyl. I just got the Silhouette Cameo 4 plotter and I am absolutely obsessed with this thing. I'll have to do a full video on how you can use this for RC, but I'm cutting out custom vinyl for the side panels. You can also make paint masks for it and make really cool, intricate designs. I'm also making my own stickers, selling them on my Etsy. Lots of utility for this machine. I found a really cool mountain treat silhouette design for the side panels, cut that out. Applied that using a squeegee, peel off the backing, and I think this looks so, so cool. Next, I got a couple 3D printed parts. Thank you to Alex Y. Hung on Instagram. He offered to print me some of these. As I mentioned, I don't have my own 3D printer. This ladder was actually intended for my van build, but I stole it from that and used it on the back of here. I think it turned out really great. He also 3D printed some door handles, so I got rid of those stickered ones. Also a roof rack for the top. And I found some cheap windshield wipers on AliExpress. I also got a CC hand trash bag and a Proline toe strap. To do the magnetic body mounting mod, I used Gorilla 5-minute epoxy. I mixed equal parts of these two chambers. I stirred it for 30 seconds, and then you're gonna have to work quickly. Make sure that you scuff up where your magnets are going. Also, make sure to mark the right side. You don't want your magnets to repel each other. These are rare earth neodymium disc magnets. They come in different sizes. I'll put links to the ones that I got in the description box below. This makes taking the body on and off a ton easier. And my last addition to this rig is an RC 4-wheel drive Warn winch. To be able to control this from my DX5 Rugged, I had to get a wired winch control unit. I have a whole video on setting this up. I'll put a link to that in the top right corner. Really fun addition, super scale looking, and now I can do some scale recoveries. Let's take it outside.
Under my switchblade feet come thunder.
right, so all in all, what do I think of this rig after spending a little time on the trail with it? I'm actually super impressed. It made it over some more technical features than I thought it was going to. I added a new feature to the crawler course. I thought I might have to add some logs, might be a little bit too steep for this thing, but it made it over just fine. I was so impressed. It is an RTR, so you have to add your custom touches. I really enjoyed playing around with the vinyl cutter for the first time. The winch is also super fun. Using the DX5 rugged transmitter also allows me to tune a lot of different features like the throttle control. The throttle is pretty touchy on this thing, so when you go forward or reverse, I actually almost ran into myself when I had it on the carpet. Using the Spectrum transmitter, I'm able to set a little expo, so reduce the sensitivity around the neutral throttle point. I also set my throttle rate to 50%, so it's actually super slow now, which is great, and my top speed is actually really slow as well. If you're using the stock motor and transmitter setup, just be careful, especially if kids are playing with this. I did notice a little bit of torque twist, so the torque of the motor tends to make the rig lean to the left a little bit. Not a huge deal. I got a spare interior, I think a couple years ago for my SCX 10.2 Jeep Cherokee and ended up getting a 3D printed one. So I had an extra and it actually fits in this quite nicely. It's sort of just set in there right now, but I have to paint that up. It'll make it so when you peer through the windows, you don't see any of the battery and all the cables and stuff. Tires are pretty grippy. I think the foams must have been updated because people said they were super stiff in the G1. These are nice and soft. Tire compound seems good for what I'm driving in. Magnets are also strong enough. I rolled the car a couple times on accident and the body didn't come off, so that's perfect. Before we wrap up, I wanted to say a huge thank you to all my patrons on Patreon, and thank you to our newest patron, Michael Noland, who joined since my last T28 flying videos, so welcome and thank you so much. I also made these RC Life stickers and Tiny Truckin' stickers. They're available on my Etsy if you want to check them out. Thank you to BitGo Hobby for sending one of these out for me to try on my channel. Really had a lot of fun with it. Thanks for tuning in as always. Make sure to like and subscribe. Or see you later.